Hare Krishna, good morning, my dear Prabhus, dear Matajis. Thank you for joining our Japa session this morning and welcome sa ating Braj Bhakti Academy, the Monk in the Middle podcast. Studying ng ating Srimad Bhagavatam. Good morning muna, hello. Charles Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Nice to always see you. Ilang buwan ko to kasama chanting eh. Jonah, hello. Hare Krishna, Jonah. Rizal Mataji, Hare Krishna. Shah Mataji, Hare Krishna. Si Bhakta Keser Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Roll Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Christine Mataji, Hare Krishna. And of course, good morning sa ating God Brother, Radhanath Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Good morning, Hare Krishna, to you and
Wonderful.
everybody.
Yan. So, of course, Sinabadip Chandra Prabhu is logging in. And first, we must always be in the right mood, in the mood of request and in mood of humility. So join me as we recite the invocation mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Priyashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamas Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hello, hello. Good morning. And ito yung ating invocation mantras would always put us in the right place, especially in studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting, or even doing our any spiritual activities. We should be on the right mood. So previously, Vyasadeva and Narada Muni, yung mag-guru and disciple, were speaking about yung mga final instructions para gawin yung mga gawin ni Vyasadeva. Yung dapat gawin niya dun sa case or sa bewilderment niya regarding the Vedas. So, nagkwento ng onte si Narada Muni regarding his life. Of course, yung disciple wanted to know more regarding his guru. And then, give me a sec. Then, ang nangyari is, he inquired a lot to know more regarding the spiritual master. So, our chapter for our Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, creation, entitled chapter 6 entitled Conversation between Narada and Vyasadeva. Text number 1. So bumalik yung usapan kala Suta Goswami. Suta said, O Brahmanas, thus hearing all about Sri Narada's birth and activities, Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God and son of Satyavati, inquired as follows. So itutuloy ko lang yung conversation bago natin i-discuss. Sri Vyasadeva said, What did you, Narada, do after the departure of the great sages who had instructed you in scientific transcendental knowledge before the beginning of your present birth? So, ito yung nangyayari madalas. One will be initiated in Krishna consciousness or will have a spiritual master. Parang ano yan eh. Alam mo yung may naliligaw sa isang loved one or a person na attracted siya. Siyempre, best foot forward yan. Todo effort. Todo, ligaw nga. court. Ang tanong, after sagutin, ano na mangyayari? Ano nang gagawin? Much more higher or spiritual point of view on this. One could be working so hard, endeavoring for spiritual advancement, pleasing the guru, pleasing the devotees. But sometimes not sometimes, yung ibang devotees, after nila mag-get initiated, nawawala yung practice nila, nabibewilder. So, eto yung mga medyo kailangan natin bantayan na ano yung consistency natin in our practice. Kapag nakuha natin yung bagay na 'to, ano yung gagawin mo after? Not knowing yung initiation is just the start of the spiritual life. So this, tinanong ni Vyasadeva to know more about, of course, his guru. What did you do after? Umalis na yung mga Bhaktivedantas sa bahay ninyo. After ka ma-initiate, umalis na sila. What did you do? I'll read more than Radhanath Prabhu could explain further. O son of Brahma, how did you pass your life after initiation? And how did you attain this body, having quit your old one in due course? Yeah. Wanna speak about these first three verses, Prabhu Radhanath?
Hare Krishna, good morning. Thank you for this opportunity again to be with all of you, this wonderful Sangha of discussing about Lord Krishna and his devotees. So, discussion, and then questions. Galing eh. Maraming mga questions yun si Vyasadeva eh. And nagpapatunay lang yun na when one really is so anxious, pag interesado ka talaga sa isang bagay, kahit 'di ba, kahit sa ano pa yan kahit sa platform natin ngayon. Syempre, yung pinag-usap nila Vyasadeva and questions and answers are purely transcendental, purely high topics, 'di ba? Pero 'di ba, we have practical experience in life na basta interesado tayo sa isang bagay or something na gustong-gusto natin, 'di ba? Marami tayong tanong, gagawin natin lahat para malaman kung ano ba 'yan. Halimbawa, may certain passion ka about, let's say, shoes or gadget. Pag i-review mo yan tapos tignan mo, aralin mo, makikinig ka ng mga sabi ng ibang tao. Tapos may mga questions ka rin personal. So, ibig sabihin, interesado ka talaga eh. So, lalabas yung mga increase mo kasi pag gusto mo isang bagay, pag gusto mong kunin yung isang bagay, dapat sigurado. Tsaka dapat with full knowledge ka. When we're talking about or when we talk about spiritual subject matters, or in this case, past time na nakita natin, Srila Vyasadeva asking Narada Muni is very satisfying and very inspiring. Kasi despite Vyasadeva being the personality of Godhead, the literary incarnation, the Supreme Lord Himself, he's acting nga as a student, as a disciple of Narada Muni. So, very interested siya sa nangyari kay Narada Muni sa kanyang spiritual master. And ang one point na gusto kong i-focus dito is yung when you ask questions, those attempt to ask questions should not just be out of just to ask questions. Dapat may reasoning tayo. And yung reasoning ni Vyasadeva sa pag-ask niya ng questions is he wants to follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni. Kasi convinced na siya eh. This is a personality that explained to me the real value of life. So I wanted to follow in his footsteps. So hence I asked so many questions because I'm really interested in becoming him or like him, di ba? So when we ask questions, dapat hindi lang just for the sake of information, sabi nga. It should be something na we ask so that we will be inspired and follow follow the instruction, follow the example from the person giving the answer. So parang ganon. So it's a very nice conversation now, and it's a very nice means an example of how a disciple should approach the spiritual master and how one should inquire, di ba? May enthusiasm siya, meron siyang humility, meron siyang enthusiasm to ask questions. Kaya he's a perfect candidate to receive such informations or knowledge. So yes, when we ask questions, should just not be for the sake of information but for inspiration, di ba?
Yes, and sabi nga ni Sir Prabhupada, to inquire from the spiritual master is an essential factor to progressive path. So, yung spiritual path natin in our progression, advancement natin, we should inquire and submissively. Kung palagi naman mababasa natin yung mga questions ng mga sages in the conversation, even Arjuna himself, sa Bhagavad Gita, sa Srimad Bhagavatam, they're in the right mood in inquiring. Read a little more, and Navadip Chandra will tell the story kasi very related. Naalala ko si Navadip Chandra Prabhu dun sa nangyari kay Narada Muni. May kinukwento siya palagi na nung mingiti na siya nagigets na niya. Text number 4. O great sage, time annihilates everything in due course. So how is it that this subject matter, which happened prior to this day of Brahma, is still fresh in your memory, undisturbed by time? So bakit daw naalala ni Narada Muni yung nangyari sa kanya previously? Take note, hindi to yung nakaraang few decades lang Sabi ni Sri Prabhupada dito, previous kalpa. So one kalpa is one day of Lord Brahma. So that's trillions of years yung last life na yon. Tapos nung napunta si Narada Muni, ito yung meron siyang ngayon ko lang nabasa yung sinabi ni Prabhupada, meron siyang super consciousness. Yung consciousness, sabi ni Prabhupada, mabilis siya mawala. After this life, pwedeng may matira na onte pero madalas nawawala siya. Even nga yung consciousness natin previously, few months ago nag-iiba. So, ang target nga natin palagi maging Krishna conscious. Si Narada Muni, even yung younger stage niya, so meron siyang super consciousness. Ano yun? That is Krishna consciousness. He did had the association of these Krishna conscious devotees, pure devotees. Then he practiced it, yung instructions. Then marami nangyari sa buhay niya. That's why na-retain niya yung super consciousness. Even after that life, napunta siya sa next life, which is Narada Muni na siya. Bakit daw na natandaan pa ni Narada Muni? Sabi nga, time annihilates everything in due course. Pero sa kanya, bakit fresh daw? Let's read on the text number 5. Ay, hindi, mamaya na si Nabotip na magbabasa na ito. So yes, Nabotip Chandra Prabhu, tell us the story, what happened?
Hare Krishna, good morning everyone. So, ayun nga, maraming tanong dito si Vyasa Dave. Kasi, yun nga, sabi nga ni Radhanath Prabhu, is spiritual master niya yun and then gusto niyang i-follow yung footstep. So, kanino ka pa ba magtatanong dito sa nakaranas na. 'Di ba? So, ang point niya dito, gusto ko lang ulitin ulit yung tanong. Sabi niya, yung nung umalis yung mga Vedantis, anong ginawa mo? Una, anong ginawa mo? And then pangalawa is pangalawang tanong yun eh. And then ito na nga yung tanong is sabi niya, paano mo na naalala lahat yun? Paano, ano nga ba yun? O son of Brahma, how did you pass your life after initiation? So anong ginawa mo after initiation and how did you attain this body, having quit your old one? So Yun. And then yung pangatlong tanong, time annihilates everything in due course and how it is that the subject matter which happened prior to this day. Sabi nga, sabi kasi sa chapter 13 ng Bhagavad Gita is in-explain na daw ni Krishna yon kay Sun God Vivasvan. And then si Vivasvan in-explain kay Manu, and si Manu in-explain kay Isbako yung Bhagavad Gita, yung transcendental knowledge na yon. And how come mas matatanda pa sa yung mga yon, and then paano mo mas matanda pa kay Arjuna yon pala, paano ay kay Krishna, kasi at that time parang sinasabi ni Arjuna 125 years old pa lang si Krishna, pero yung mga yon millions, yung sabi nga ni Radhacharan Prabhu, is hindi lang basta yuga, kalpa nga daw, so that means millions prior pa doon. So in that way, pero bakit fresh na fresh pa rin kay Narada Munin naman yung yung niya, yung past life niya. Sabi kasi ni Arjuna, sabi kasi ni Vyasa, kung si Arjuna hindi niya na natandaan yung mga past life niya, bakit ikaw natandaan mo? Sabing gano'n. So isasagutin ni Narada Munin in the later verse. Siyempre hindi pa natin iaano muna ngayon. Spoiler alert. So, nasa na ba tayo? Narada, the great sage who imparted the scientific knowledge of transcendence to me, departed for other places, and I had to pass my life in this way. Gusto kong tong time annihilates everything in due course. May one time, merong kasama ko yung isang guru somewhere sa beach. Nagpo-floating siyang ganun. And then may sinasabi siyang verse. Tapos hindi ko naintindihan yung verse. Tinanong ko yung translation. Kasi ganda ng pagkakabigkas niya. Tapos sabi, yung translation nun is galing sa Mahabharat, na yun yung sabi nga doon, yung pot daw is yung body natin, pots. And then yung yung fuel o yung fire, yung nagluluto doon sa pot is yun yung time. Lahat niluluto tayo ng time. And then yung ladle o yung pang halo is yung season, summer and winter season, ganyan. So lahat daw tayo is kumbaga yun nga subjected sa time. So kumbaga kahit anong, kumbaga we try to plan, but actually Krishna has his plan. Kaya actually makikita mo dito si Narada Muni. Bata pa lang siya kung ano yung mangyari sa kanya sa next verse. Kumbaga ang point dito is si Narada Muni is yung kung ano man yung mangyari sa kanya na hindi pa natin sinasabi dahil next verse na, is alam niya or lagi niyang nare-recognize yung hands ni Krishna or yung arrangement ni Krishna doon. Even to the point na 5 years old pa lang siya. So ganun ka sincere si Narada Muni, or ganun siya na ganun yung pag-impart sa kanya nung mga Vedantis. So but anyway, makikita natin sa text 5 kung ano nga ba yung mangyayari sa kanya. Back to you, Prabhu.
Yes. So, actually, nabasa na ni Navadip Chandra text 5 eh. Shri Narada said, The great sages who had imparted scientific knowledge of transcendence to me departed for other places, and I had to pass my life in this way. This is the duty of these transcendentalists, the sannyasis, in the renounced order of life. They traveled around different places, palagi. They don't usually stay in one place na mas matagal. Si Sukadev Goswami, sabi niya, at the time of yung milking lang, 30 minutes lang. Pero this one, masaya sila kasi inabutan sila ng tag-ulan. Kaya nagstay yung mga sanyasi, yung mga renounced order for 4 months. Pero that is the duties of the um, traveling renounced order na mga tao to give Krishna consciousness everywhere. Kasi wala pa nung internet. Di pa sila makapag-Zoom saka Facebook Live nun. Pero eto yung nangyari. Then, ayun nga, kahit 5 years old pa lang si Narada Muni, because of that association, there was a tangible change in his life. Binanggit ni Radhanath Prabhu yung verse na a moment's association with pure devotees, there will be great effect. Tangible effect. Diba? Mangyayari. Sir Prabhupada mentioned, actual association of devotees brings about a quick change in life for spiritual realization. And we could, lahat tayo, witness nito and naka-experience na ito. May mga bagay na, may mga instances na may makasama lang tayong devotees, physical or makausap naman natin. Ang dami natin ma-realize, ang dami, para magbabago kagad yung takbo ng buhay natin because of that association. Brother Prabhu, you can read further dire-diretso para matuloy yung kwento. Ano nangyari sa kanya afterwards? Text number 6.
Text number 6. I was the only son of my mother, who was not only a simple woman, but a maidservant as well. Since I was her only offspring, she had no other alternative for protection. She bound me with the tie of affection. Text number 7. She wanted to look after my maintenance properly, but because she was not independent, she was not able to do anything for me. The world is under the full control of the Supreme Lord, therefore everyone is like a wooden doll in the hands of a puppet master. When I was a mere child of 5 years, I lived in a Brahmana school. I was dependent on my mother's affection and had no experience of different lands. Once upon a time, my poor mother, when going out one night to milk a cow, was bitten on the leg by a serpent influenced by supreme time. I took this as the special mercy of the Lord, who always desires benediction for his devotees, and so thinking, I started for the north. That's it. So, sad story. Do you want me to just continue, try to say, okay. Yeah, so there we have it. That's the hands of fate. The inevitable arrangement of the Lord for his pure devotees, for his very sincere devotees. Sabi nga di ba, nabanggit na rin natin na nakaraan, the seemingly acts of nature, the hands of time works seemingly as a disturbance or what do you call that? A curse for a devotee is actually a blessing in disguise. Kasi mapansin natin as the story unfolds and the explanations by our dear acharyas, that this is actually what happens to Krishna's devotees when Krishna wanted them to just fully depend on him. Maraming stories sa Bhagavatam or sa scriptures na Krishna takes away everything from that particular personality. Just because, simply because Krishna then wanted them to just focus on him and to just totally depend on him binanggit dito maraming beses yung dependency. The mother is independent, and Narada Muni at that time, young boy, was really just dependent on his mother. So, di ba parang sakit? Nag-iisang anak ka na lang. Tapos, yun nga, medyo nasa poor condition ng life. Very simple. And then, at that age, mawalan ka ng magulang. Di ba? Parang sakit. Sino pang kakapitan mo? Fully dependent na siya sa mother niya eh. I cannot imagine how would that be. But, of course, we can always just draw the lessons from this person, and even sa mga friends natin na naka-experience ng at a very very early age in their life, the mother had passed away. So masakit especially sa case ni Narada Muni, or young Narada Muni in a previous life as a child of a maidservant. Masakit yun kasi wala na siyang ibang kasama eh. So, paano niya dinil yon? Paano niya dinil yung situation niya? We will discuss in the further chapters, further texts. But the very important thing na we have to take note here is the total dependence on Krishna. Mind you, he was very conscious na nga or aware na siya sa transcendental knowledge. So, he took it, sabi niya, di ba? Sa verse 10. Chapter 6, sinabi niya, I took this as the special mercy of the Lord. So, I think that's a very important point in this text, because most of the time when we are hit by these kind of disastrous moments in our life, no, parang hirap alalahanin ni Lord. We are so much so in these bodily considerations that sakit, mag-mental tayo. Yeah, sometimes maalala natin si Lord, but in general, di ba, we will not even think this is the arrangement of the Lord. Paano naging arrangement ni Lord? Sakit naman nun. Wala na akong kasama. Tinanggalan niya pa ako ng nanay. Ganun. So, how can we understand that? So, another thing is we can really see the great personality that is Narada Muni at that time. Or the boy, Narada, son of a maidservant. Is advanced in his thinking, advanced in his realizations in life. The facts of life. He took it as the Lord's special mercy. So, hindi niya tinignan yun as a curse or as a something parang just happened without a reason. Hence, sabi niya, I started for the north. Meron na akong gustong i-share just very quick before we turn it over to Radhacharan Prabhu and Avadi Prabhu about sa north eh. Marami tayong mababasa sa scriptures natin na pagdating sa mga retirement or meditation or something about spirituality. Lagi nababanggit excuse me. Lagi nababanggit yung direction ng north eh. Bakit siya parang laging sa north? Even the Pandavas, they started for the north when the Kali Yuga was about to enter, and then they had to disappear. Yung parang yung disappearing act nila papunta sa north eh. Pumunta rin sila ng north sa Himalayas or whatever. Nababanggit yung north kasi sabi yung may great story din about about this parang young boy Dhruva Maharaj. Well, we will understand in the future the significance of Dhruva Maharaj and the direction of the north kasi nandun yung pole star eh. But anyway, in short, yung north direction kasi sabi is symbolizes firm conviction and unshakable determination, parang ganon. So conducive yung north direction for this kind of mentality or purposes, especially when it's acted upon spiritual awakening, spiritual journey. Palaging sa north ang punta ng mga mga sages or mga personality at that time. And even in Vastu, yung Vastu, ano siya, parang the Vedic version ng feng shui, or actually the origin of feng shui, sabi nga, yung Vastu. About sa ano yun directions and what's good for building properties or anything na may kinalaman sa parang energies and good vibes and bad vibes, mga ganun. So, sabi yung north, ano yun dun conducive yung northeast, actually is the most conducive position kung saan dapat nilalagay yung altar. So, anything about the spirituality, anything about parang regular, tawag doon, regulated activities ng spiritual activities, dapat ginagawa sa northeast side ng bahay. So, yung altar parang dapat nandun sa northeast side. So, yeah, just a little trivia about this direction, the north direction. So yun na, sinabi ni Narada Muni. He started for the north.
And yes, this is a sad story to think of. He's still 5 years old, totally dependent sa mom niya. Wala siyang ibang person to depend on. Tapos yung mom niya, binound ba siya by the tie of affection? Hindi siya yung mom na pabaya. Tie of bound by the tie of affection with that love and care para sa kanya. So, inaalagaan siya. Pero, due to the course of time, sabi ni Narada Muni, sadly, the mom was beaten in the leg by a serpent, the snake. Then the mom died. Yan. Hindi ko pa na-experience, of course, mawalan ng mom and ano yung pakiramdam nun. Especially when in a younger age. And Navadip Chandra Prabhu will share something. May mga realization siya rito for sure.
So, ayun. Yung mga nawalan ng mom. Yan ako, at the age of 12, nag-pass away yung mom ko. And then, I can say to you that I can admit that I'm very affectionate ito sa nanay ko. Kumbaga parang dependent. To parang to shortcut at parang mama's boy, parang ganyan. Kasi bunso Pero mo, 8 kayo tapos ikaw pang 8, tapos sa'yo lahat ng attention, parang gano'n. So sabi ko sa sarili ko, hindi ko kayang mawawala yung mother ko. Gusto ko ako yung unang mawawala. But anyway, how come? Ngayon, buhay na buhay ako at nakakangiti pa. Somehow na-realize ko na yun nga, yes, masakit. Pero nakita ko siya na pwedeng arrangement ni Krishna Kumbaga kasi sabi ko nga lagi is parang sagrado katoliko kami. So, and somehow I can say that I'm an obedient son. Pag sinabi niya siguro, pag sinabi niyang, ano lang tayo, Catholic lang tayo, nabuhay tayong Catholic, mamamatay tayong Catholic, parang ganyan. So, susundin ko yun. Kumbaga parang basta lahat ng sinusunod ko sa kanya. Kahit medyo hindi yun yung decision ko. Anyway, susundin ko na lang din siya kasi very hindi lang ako basta obedient kasi you love your mother, parang ganun. So, ang point ko, may gusto akong i-relate dyan sa yung medyo masakit na yan para maintindihan natin kung bakit it's look like parang masakit pero actually tinutulungan tayo ni Krishna. So may story si Prabhupada na yung isang devotee ang intense nung tanong niya na paano kaya mini-manage ni Krishna yung mga tao, sabi niya gano'n. So, punta ngayon siya sa temple, nagdasal siya na, Krishna, paano niyo kaya mini-manage lahat ng tao? Ang ang daming nagdadasal dito, ang daming nagdadasal diyan, ganyan. So, ang sobrang sincere yung question niya. Ngayon, inarrange ni Krishna na siya lang ang makakakita kay Krishna na gumalaw si Krishna. Yung DT4 mismo sa temple, gumalaw at nakipag-usap sa kanya. Sabi niya, very unique yung question mo. So, ang gagawin ko ngayon, ilalagay kita dito at ikaw yung magiging DT at tingin nila ikaw si Krishna pa rin. Ngayon, ang gagawin mo lang, wag kang mag-interfere, tatayo ka lang diyan, magbibigay ka lang ng blessing. Yun lang ang deal. Tatayo ka diyan, hindi ka gagalaw, magbibigay ka lang ng blessing sa lahat ng pupunta ng temple na magdadasal. Okay. So, okay na. So, unang pumunta is yung tatay na merong, unang pumunta is yung businessman na mayaman na nagdasal kay Krishna na sana lumago pa yung business ko and then sana maging mayaman pa siya. And then kinuha niya yung wallet niya, naglagay siya doon sa donation box. Tapos ayun, umalis na siya. Ngayon, dumating naman yung tatay na merong anak sa hospital na kailangan ng matinding operation. So, God, please tulungan niyo po kami. Kailangan namin ng facility ng pera para pang hospital ng anak ko. Kailangan na mo operahan para ma-save yung buhay niya, ganyan. Then, somehow, actually, naiwan nung mayaman yung wallet, makapal niyang wallet doon sa baluster. And then sabi niya, oh, thank you Lord, answered prayer, ang bilis. So, kinuha niya yung wallet, dali-dali siyang pumunta na, maraming salamat po kung ito yung answer mo, mapapagamot ko na yan ako. Okay. And then, third person is nagpapasalamat yung third person na aakyat na siya, sasampa na siya ng barko. Ito yung first job niya, matindi yung training niyo doon. And then ito na nga, natanggap na siya at sasampa na siya ng barko. And then bumalik yung mayaman na nakaiwan ng wallet. Kumbaga parang minutes lang yun eh. So, sabing ganun niya doon sa third person, may nakita kang wallet dito. Wala akong nakita, kakarating ko lang. Hindi, sobrang mabilis lang ako. Kung may dumating man, ikaw lang yun. So, malamang kinuha mo. No, kararating ko lang. And then sabi niya, nagpatawag na siya ng pulis na, damputin niyo to. Kasi ayaw niyang ibalik yung wallet ko. Kumbaga yung span of time na yun, siya lang naman dumating dyan. Imposibleng hindi niya nakuha yun. No, inosente ako, wala akong ginagawa. Ngayon, yung si devotee na ginawang Krishna, nakikita niya lahat. Gusto niya na mag-interfere. Kasi unfair nga naman. So anyway, hindi niya nakinaya. Nakialam na siya, nag-interfere na siya. No, it's not, hindi siya yung kumuha. Yung isa nakaalis na, ganyan. Tapos, so naguluhan lahat na bakit gumalaw yung deities, bakit nagsalita, ganyan. Tapos, finiris na lahat ni Krishna. Freeze. Sabi niya, sabi ko sa'yo, magbigay ka lang ng blessing. Huwag kang mag-interfere. Lahat yan naka-arrange na. Sabi niya, sobrang kawawa naman yung makukulong na wala naman siyang kasalanan, hindi naman talaga siya yung kumuha. Sabi niya, naka-arrange na, manood ka na lang. Bakit ko siya ah, ah, nililigtas ko siya na wag siyang makapunta doon sa first job niya or do dream job niya yon. Wag siyang makapunta doon kasi lulubog yung barko, kawawa naman yung family niya. And then yung ano para matulungan yung anak na nasa ospital, ah ibinigay ko din yung wallet na yun sa kanya. And then yung mayaman na yun, ah kaya bakit ko siya kinuha nun? Kasi gagamitin niya lang sa SES gratification at meron pa siya, marami pa siyang kayamanan pero ginagamit niya sa hindi maganda. Parang gano'n. So, in that way, naka-arrange na lahat yon. May mga bagay sa buhay natin na medyo masakit na hindi natin alam yung hindi natin maintindihan at the very kumbaga at the very moment, pero later na lang natin marirealize na bak na okay pala yung arrangement ni Krishna kahit medyo masakit sa una. Pero yung mga arrangement na yon is lahat yon merong ano may blessing yon or may strength na. Hindi naman kasi sa atin ibibigay mga yung heartache na yon kung hindi natin kaya, sabi nga. So, if we just have faith on Krishna's arrangement, then yung heartache, kumbaga temporary lang mawawala din. And then makikita din natin actually yung great blessing. And then later on, actually magpapasalamat din tayo. So, anyway, marami tayong heartache na for sure may mga nare-realize na kayo dyan na kung bakit pala ganun yung mga ibang heartache natin. Pero ngayon, hanggang ngayon, nakakayanan nyo pa rin. I think, yeah, that's it.
So yes, sobrang importante na malaman natin na hindi tayo yung supreme controller. Si Krishna yung supreme controller. Sa mga nangyayari, he's way ahead of us in thinking kung ano yung mga nandito sa bagay-bagay sa paligid natin. Kumbaga, one step pa lang yung naisip natin, si Krishna, alam na niya yung mga, alam niya yung future. He knows the future. And he have arranged that. Sri Prabhupada mentioned and coined, that is the way of dragging a sincere soul nearer to God. Hindi invite si Krishna dinadrag niya. A sincere soul. Kasi maraming soul na sincere. Pero ang dami niya kinakapitan. Sincere sila kay Krishna, pero due to the weakness of heart, meron silang mga kinakapitan ng mga attachment, unwanted desire. And for that cleansing na mangyayari sa heart, minsan kasi Krishna mas kailangan niyang i-drag. Sa umpisa medyo masakit kasi attach nga tayo Pero knowing kung ano yung purpose na yon, mas nagkakaroon ng meaning. Also, it was mentioned here na yung odd sa text number 10, odd or difficult moment in mundane sense, yung mga normal na tao, nakikita nila. If one is practicing Krishna consciousness, nakikita niya as expressal mercy ni Krishna yon in different ways. He knows na a devotee knows pag may nangyari sa kanya, mas malala pa dapat yung mangyayari sa kanya pero by the mercy of Krishna, na-minimize siya. At the same time, if may magandang nangyari sa kanya, he knows na hindi niya deserving yun. It was Krishna's arrangement para nangyari yung mga good things na yun. So he's fully dependent. At the same time, he's always praying to Krishna. Krishna, yung nangyari sa akin, alam ko mas malala pa yung pwede mangyari sa akin, but you minimize it because of your mercy. May I always realize na ikaw yung supreme controller. May I always use this experience and understand and realize kung anong dapat kong gawin to serve you. If may magandang nangyari sa kanya, is praying, Krishna, I don't deserve this. But only by your mercy, I'm receiving these blessings. May I always remember you. May I always use this in your service. So, ganun mag-isip yung devotee. Ganun mag-isip yung person na yun. And yes, totoo yung sabi ni Navdeep Chandra Prabhu, when one is in that moment, mahirap. Andyan yung emotions, Andyan yung attachment natin, andyan yung, alam mo yun, minsan may trauma, ang daming nangyayari, umiikot. Pero, bakit may sadhana tayo, may Krishna consciousness? It is an investment. Minsan, pag nandun tayo sa moment na yun, masarap ipasok si Krishna para ma-realize. Pero while we are on that default stage, ito yung investment natin to know the knowledge, the spiritual knowledge. Just like what happened to Narada Muni. Iba niya hinarap yung sitwasyon nung naging Krishna conscious na siya. If one is in different consciousness, iba niya rin harapin yung sitwasyon. Sabi nga ng mga senior devotees, senior God brothers natin, and mga gurus, if one practices his sadhana, his chanting, his reading regularly, or even on the same day, if maganda yung chanting natin in the morning, pag may nangyari ng tanghali or ng hapon, iba mo harapin compared dun sa hindi ka nakapag-chant, hindi ka nakapagbasa or wala kang association. So it is always our investment. In the future, someone will um, leave us physically, geographically, or by relationship. Mangyayari yun. Or rather, tayo yung iiwan sa kanila. Pero yung investment natin is paano tayo nagka-practice ngayon. Paano natin maiintindihan. That's the foundation. Without the knowledge, mahirap. Kaya sobrang importante to read sila Prabhupada books. Kasi pwede namang, sarap naman mag-chant. Service lang ako, saka chanting. Baka pwede na yun. The foundation will, kaya nga siya foundation eh, hindi siya kita. Yung building, di mo kita yung pundasyon niya, yung foundation niya. And to think 20-30% ng budget nandun sa foundation, sa isang building. Pero ayun yung lakas sa isang spiritual practice or sa isang building, in analogy. The foundation natin is knowledge na galing sa scriptures, galing sa guru and sa mga devotees. Na pag dumating sa atin yung mga sitwasyon na to, alam natin kung paano ma-realize. Alam din natin kung anong dapat gawin natin. Alam natin kung paano tayo mag-cope dun sa mga lost loved ones natin. Kasi iba, mapapansin natin, iba pag devotees yung nagko-cope dito. Iba yung normal na tao. Yes, pain will be there. Iiyak pa rin yung devotees, lalo na yung mga dear devotees, yung mga nag-pass away. Pero, iba yung mood. Hindi out of attachment. Out of longing sa association ng devotees na yun. Kaya may kantang Gianilo, ni Narottam Das. Narottam Das Thakur. Grabe yung kanta niya. Sabi niya, I will smash my head into a rock because of that separation. Iba siya dun sa separation, materials, attachment. Rather than Prabhu, you want to share something in this regard?
That's why very important, no, when we are in the association of devotees, that we cherish, and that we make sure that the loving exchanges are present, diba? Because we will, yeah, we have this knowledge that, everything is Krishna's arrangement, and then when this devotee passes away, a certain devotee passes away, we're happy that we know that Krishna is in control. Krishna is putting him in a better position, and come back to Godhead, like this. But we still cannot deny the fact that we are humans still. But we're trying to be, as you can say, above this material sphere. Hence, we're trying to become transcendental, persons. But that's a long way to go. So yes, very important talaga yung association and devotees. Like what Srila Vyasadeva is trying to get from Sri Narada Muni. Really learning, really curious about lessons in life. How he became the Narada Muni that he is. Diba? So inspired siya sa, not only by the presence of Narada Muni, he was inspired by the teachings of Narada Muni. That he is inquiring so much. Paano ka naging ganyan? Ano ba yung mga pinagdaanan mo? Ano yung mga ginawa mo, di ba? So, yun yung mga yun yung mga very important na questions natin, or to look after, to sought after sa association ng devotees, di ba? Prabhu, dati paano ka ba nag-umpisa sa spiritual life mo, gano'n, 'di ba? Kaya gano'n, very interesting palagi yung topic na yan, eh. So, it's very important that when we associate with devotees, these loving exchanges are there. We inquire, we serve, 'di ba? We give gifts like this. So, with these loving exchanges, this is certainly pleasing to Krishna. And when Krishna is pleased, then of course, he will take control of our lives. So, yes, mahirap pag when we speak about we lost loved ones. Mahirap. Yes, mahirap. But then just like dapat sa devotee, you will just see it as a passing like a season. It will come and it will go. Parang there's always you can call that the sunshine after the rain.
Yes.
Although minsan we are calm before the storm. Pero the point is in pursuit of becoming steady, pinag-usapan nga natin, Radha Prabhu mentioned about the foundation. That should be the foundation. That should be the basis of our the practice of our Krishna consciousness. How we always make it to the point where whatever happens, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's glorious or whether it's disastrous, di ba? Dapat we're always in remembrance of Krishna.
Um, Speaking of yung masakit ngayon nangyari kay Narada Muni, yung kung sa atin man, yung mga heartache na yan, na sobrang heartache na hindi natin maintindihan. It's nice na dapat nasa proper mood tayo. So on my experience, ano nga ba yung proper mood na natutunan ko sa mga devotee? Sabi daw, dapat yung hindi natin tatanungin si Krishna ng pa-challenge, pero tatanungin natin siya na, Krishna, what is your message behind this? What do you want me to do in a proper way? Why is this happening to me? Parang ganun. Hindi, lagi sinasabi na hindi pa challenge siya. So, ano yung dapat kong gawin? And then, I know na yes, masakit to and all, pero along with this, please give me strength to understand this. Kasi, yun, at the very moment, napakahirap intindihin eh. Pero give me a knowledge, give me enlightenment, why is this happening to me? So I can still cope up and yun, still remember yung sabi nga ni Radhanath Prabhu na yun, magagawa nga natin yun, like sinabi ni Radhacharan Prabhu na if we have good association, proper foundation na yun nga, totoo naman investment eh. Hindi naman tayo magkakaroon ng ganung consciousness kung we're still just wala lang, hindi tayo nag-invest doon sa mga ganung klaseng knowledge or nag-inquire tayo ng knowledge doon sa mga devotees around us. So, yun, kailangan natin ng proper association. And then for us to para ma-rearrange natin yung buhay natin in a Krishna conscious way. And Krishna conscious way is very glorious. Whether it's mangyari sa atin bad or good, kaya pa rin. And anyway, kung hindi man tayo maging Krishna conscious, may mangyari pa rin good and bad. So, mas maganda, okay na ako doon sa Krishna conscious. At least may strength na direct galing kay Krishna and the support of the devotee. And I'm very grateful with all your association every day. So, yeah.
Yes, napakaganda nun. And good or bad na mangyayari sa atin, which is mangyayari talaga, walang makakaiwas. Ang question na lang is, ano yung consciousness mo habang nandun ka sa sitwasyon na yun? Sabi nga, yung game of life, it's not um, kung paano tayo sosolusyonan yung mga bagay na good or bad sa paligid natin. Game of life is kahit anong dumating sa atin, naalala mo ba si Krishna? Then from that, madali na yung mga susunod na mga steps if one remembered Krishna. Yung grieving process na yung grieving process sa material world is a lot of stages, 'di ba? Dabda, yung denying, anger, and then yung bargaining, nakalimutan ko ng iba. Huli yung acceptance. Pero minsan naglalaro-laro yun. Minsan matagal, minsan years, minsan decades bago mapunta doon. In Krishna consciousness, ay kaya investment nga, inaaral mo na umpisa pa lang. Like si Narada Muni, mabilis niya na-realize. Yung nangyari sa kanya, alam na kagad niya yung reason. Maiksing-maiksi lang kasi may knowledge. Sabi nga, if one is experiencing some tribulations in life, lalo na pag emotion, yes, we should be there. We should let them feel the warmth and care and love. Pero, pwede natin siya kausapin in philosophy para ma-awaken yung mga natutulog na knowledge. Kasi, yes, we could invest on the knowledge, pero by emotions, like even devotees, could be affected. Kailangan mo lang gisingin. Much more mahirap kapag yung tao nakaka-experience, tinuturo mo pa lang yung foundation na we're not this body, we're the spirit soul. Pero pag gandun na, gigisingin mo na lang. So, sobrang kakaiba siya. Kasi, a devotee would understand, sabi ni Srila Prabhupada, this is just like a spiritual health. We are, yung spiritual health, we are in a fever, material fever. And kailangan tanggalin yung mga nagkakos ng fever na yun, unti-unti. That would help para maging healthy yung isang tao. Si Krishna, marami tayong attachment, marami tayong, katulad sabi na Navadip Chandra po, maraming pwedeng maging cause ng obstacle natin para sa Krishna consciousness. Just like ano yung ginagawa ni Shri Ganesh, remover of obstacle siya. Si Krishna, personally ginagawa niya sa mga devotees niya. Pwede niya i-remove yung mga obstacle na pwedeng maging cause ng pagiging Krishna conscious natin. Maraming masakit, maraming favorable, unfavorable para sa atin at the moment. But ultimately, lahat yon para mas maging Krishna conscious tayo. And ako kung napapansin nyo, before i-end ni Radharat Prabhu, kung napapansin nyo, materially, yung mga nangyayari sa tao, it's always a humbling experience. Even spiritually, may mga nangyayari sa mga tao, it's always a humbling experience. So either way, we should be Krishna conscious naman sa ano mga mangyayari. Yes, Prabhu Radhanath.
May gusto lang akong i-share na one last point for everybody. Pero just gusto ko lang din mag-comment sa sinabi mo na yung humbling experience. Actually, yung sinasabi ni Lord Chaitanya na na in a humble mood, sa chanting ng Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we should always be in a humble mood. Actually, that humility means that whatever happens to me, whatever good or bad, dapat lagi kang nandun sa mentality na I will not forget kasi nga Krishna, tapos tawag dito, just surrendering na just by this knowledge that everything is under the control of the Lord. That's the actual humility, that you're not trying to go against the Lord's plans, parang ganun. But the one last thing I would like to share is yung isang magandang lesson pa rito na binibigay sa atin ng story is, for me yung notion na ay magpo-pursue na lang ako ng spiritual life pag medyo patapos na ako sa buhay ko, pag medyo feel ko na, or masyado pa akong bata, I need to enjoy more. Siguro pag medyo, alam mo na, pag nagsawa na ako sa buhay, tsaka na ako magko-consider ng spiritual path. So that's actually nonsense, and that's parang siya, it doesn't make sense. Kasi tingnan mo sa life ni Narada Muni, it was never it's never too early to to pursue the spiritual path, because first of all, who knows how long we are going to live in this material world. And we should not put ourselves in the position na parang, oh, it's too late, and then wala kang nagawa, kasi hindi mo alam kailan ka i-snatch eh. So we should be grateful always na habang andito tayo sa life na to, or when we have the opportunity to to practice this Krishna consciousness as early as possible. So it's never too early, and we should not think that we can do it later on in our life, kasi baka mamaya wala na pala tayong time na natitira. So yeah, it's never too late. Oh, it's never too early to practice Krishna consciousness. As early as 5 years old. Of course, the case of Narada Muni is, sabi nga ni Lord, the confidential devotees of the Lord. Diba? Sila yung mga confidential devotees of the Lord. They're setting the example for us. So, sa atin na may mga anak, diba? It's never too early to train them in the practice of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is for everybody, every walks of life, every stage of life. Even the dogs, sabi nga, even the dogs can become Krishna conscious. I don't know how, yung realization natin about that, but that was stated somehow. Even the dogs can partake into this Krishna consciousness. So what to speak of us, human beings. So it's never too early.
Jai, Navadip Chandra Prabhu, one last point.
Sobrang mabilis lang. Kasi sabi ni Radhanath Prabhu na yun, never too early. Kasi kunyari pag tumanda na nga at gusto na sige, may time na akong mag-practice ang Krishna consciousness, or sige, gusto ko nang magbasahin ko na yung Srimad Bhagavatam. Hindi na pala kaya, labo na ng mata, ang sakit na sa mata, ang hirap na. So, yun, hindi pwedeng habang maganda yung health and physical body and all. Yeah, let's take it opportunity na blessing ni Krishna, and then gamitin natin kay Krishna. So, yun lang.
And magandang ending in combination sa sinabi ni Radhanath Prabhu and Navadip Chandra Prabhu. To cope with the loss of loved one way to think is mangyayari din sa akin yun. Namatay yung tao sa paligid natin or loved one natin. We should not be in illusion na hindi mangyayari sa akin yun. Bakit mo ako iniwan? We should think, anytime, pwede ako yung next. So I should not waste my time. Start ko na yung spiritual life. Diba? It should be a reminder. I should start it. And sabi nga ni Navadip Chandra Prabhu, kailan? Mahirap pag matanda ka na. Matanda na yung body. Ayaw na sumunod ng body. Youthful pa rin yung mind, yung consciousness. Ayaw na sumunod. Diba? Hindi ka na makaupo na maayos, hindi ka na makalakad. Hindi ka na makaserve ng using physical. Hindi ka na makapagbasa ng matagal. Ang dami na mahirap, ang dami na hindrance. Yun, sabi nga ni Brother Prabhu, if aabot tayo sa age na yun, if not, it's never too early. Now is the time. So, hindi natin pwede i-procrastinate yung spiritual life. The first instruction ni Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur kay Srila Prabhupada, habang first meeting nila, habang nagbabow down, you should spread Krishna consciousness in the English-speaking countries. May argument si Srila Prabhupada nun. Para tayo mag-spread, wala maniniwala sa atin, sinasakop tayo ng mga British colony. Sabi ni guru niya, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, this spreading of Krishna consciousness is the most urgent activity sa mundo. It should not be delayed. Hindi siya nakarely sa sino sumasakop, sino yung anong stage of life, anong walks of life, anong meron. It should be spread. It should be practiced. So that will be our coping with the loss of a loved one. We should realize na it will happen to us. And also, we should start to take Krishna consciousness seriously. Because we will never know. Maraming salamat. It was always wonderful to have your association every morning. So walang mintes araw-araw. Tonight will be gems, important verses in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And tomorrow, tuloy-tuloy tayo sa 5:30 Japa session natin ng 7 o'clock Srimad Bhagavatam study. Maraming salamat, Prabhus, Radhanath Prabhu, and Navadip Chandra Prabhu. It's always an humbling experience to study Srimad Bhagavatam with you. And also our Zoomers. And also, yung lola ko nakikinig sa Facebook. Ang galing eh. Hello, Lola. Mama Linda. Hare Krishna. Yung lola, alam mo, habang tinatapos ko to, lately ko lang nalaman, yung lola ko, we were in India, hindi ko alam na alam niyo Hare Krishna. Tapos habang magkausap kami sa India, for the longest time, doon lang kami uli nag-usap ng ilang oras, kinakanta niyo Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Kasi beforehand, alam na pala niya yung Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Baka siya yung sa kanya nang galing, but yung interest ko nandun. Hello, Hare Krishna. Maraming salamat. Be Krishna conscious today. Chant your rounds. Do the investment and read Srila Prabhupada books.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Yes, Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, everybody.
Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Narada Muni ki jai. Vyasadev ki jai. Gora Premanande. Hari Haribol.